happening?
Yep.
Good evening, Melrosians the world over. I'm Tom Catalini.
I'm Tom Shampoo.
And I'm Jen LeClaire.
And this is Let's Talk Melrose. Melrose, a show where Melrosians talk to Melrosians about Melrose. And there's, as usual, a lot happening. So, of course, last week we added the What Bill Butler is Up To segment, and that has been a smash hit reverberating through the community.
Downloaded millions of times, I think, at this point.
Before we do the Bill Butler segment for this week, I know there's always lots of Bill Butler news, but we have to point out that we are down a team member.
Team member down.
Right? Where is Sam?
There's too many things going on. Too many meetings.
Where in the world is Sam Hammer? Sam was just giving Sam is in the middle, probably just finishing up giving a presentation on behalf of Melrose Together to the Melrose Downtown Historic District Commission on a public art project that we've been working together on as part of Melrose Together to kick off AAPI month in Melrose and to commemorate the first minority-owned business in Melrose, which was Charlie Singh's Laundry down on 12 to 16 Essex Street, which is soon to be under development. So there's a project that we're working on together, and she is presenting the work along with artist Bo DiMatteo. So that's where Sam is tonight. And along with our other partner, Jim Bennett, the Historical Commission, who tells the stories and has the information about that project. So that's where Sam is.
Is that the project, Jen, where there's going to be art while it's under construction, right? That's part of it anyway, right? Because they put like a little wall up or something and we're going to put art there.
Yes, exactly. But we've partnered recently with friend of the show, Rebecca Baraldi, with Beacon Hill Wine.
Right.
We're going to have
next door.
Yeah, right next door. So we're going to have a couple of the panels previewed in her windows on Essex Street, leading up to it. So she's
awesome.
Yeah.
And so for folks who are still trying to orient themselves, this is around the corner towards Shaw's before you get to the animal hospital,
right across from
the animal clinic.
Yeah.
Right across from City Hall.
Frankie just had an animal hospital visit right there for her annual checkup yesterday.
Wow.
All went well. She's a little tired today. She had to get updated on a couple of vaccinations, and she's a little tired today. That was to be expected. But
I think that was really. I think it was Tom for real. He says it's Frankie. Frankie was tired and laid around all day long.
I didn't say I wasn't tired.
Looking good. Next time Frankie goes down there, it's going to be looking good downtown.
So, and I don't have the photo, but it was cute because my daughter texted me the photo. I was at work, so Stephanie and Annalise took Frankie in, and they have a little chalkboard at the animal thing, and they have the names of the patients who are coming.
Right.
And Frankie was
they do. You mean like that?
Yeah. There's Frankie.
That's how Frankie goes to the animal clinic in Melrose.
Yes.
All decked out in his
I would assume nothing less. Yes, exactly.
Right. All right. So how was the weekend? How was everybody? Well, there we go. There
it is.
That's how the weekend was.
That was the weekend. Look at that.
Great
crew.
Great fundraiser for Eden Mass. I don't know the name of the organization. EDENMA.org. Great fundraiser to permanently end homelessness where possible. So Bill was explaining, it's like some of the money might go towards getting somebody driving lessons so that they can drive to a job. And so it's more teaching to fish, maybe. I don't know the full story, but it's more about enabling and getting people permanently out of homelessness.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so here's Bill. Bill serving up some cocktails to people on that night. It was a fundraiser. Yeah, it was great. I was really impressed at how big a crowd they got. I mean, it was really packed up in there Friday night. This is the KFC upstairs. Same place we have the Thursday night live music.
It was fun, and they did well. They raised a lot of money, so congrats.
It was like over 2,300, I think I saw in one of the posts. So,
I think even more than that. Yeah, it's great. They did a great job. So
yes, and Knights of Columbus upstairs, Tom, like you're saying, where a lot of things happen. There's Battle of the Bands downstairs at the end of the month, and more stuff happening. I think we might be able to get Mark Hall on next week or the week after to talk a little bit more. He's got much more programming coming up, some things
That's
for
great. That's
veterans and whatnot. Yeah. So
Yeah, he's been great.
And then Saturday night, quickly, Jen, you were there with me. I was the support for my wife's effort to do the iftar breaking of the fast event at Memorial Hall. It was a wonderful event. I think there were 200 plus people there.
Yeah.
Or just around about 200 people there for that event. And it was a ceremony. They had some kids' activities prior to, but they had a ceremony of service prayers, and then they broke the fast. And it was nice to see that event come together and just feel like the community is open for everybody. And it really is a place where everybody is welcome.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Yeah, so it was the breaking of the Ramadan fast and put on by the Human Rights Commission and partners. There were folks that came from other communities. It was not just Melrose, but they came to Melrose, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats to everyone. They did a great job. It was a really moving and fun and celebratory event, and the food was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
all right, should we get into the news? We have a special guest. Can we tell people to stay tuned in? We have a special guest.
Yes, sure.
From Melrose High, one of the students, Ellis, who is going to talk to us about his experience with the walkout that happened last week, and then a bunch of other cool stuff.
Walkout, gun violence. So yeah, the one of the student organizers for that. So stay tuned. We'll talk to Ellis in a little bit.
All right, but in the meantime.
Yes. So there is some news. So we had a whole news plan, which we, of course, shelved immediately once the announcement from Mayor Broder came out yesterday, saying that he is not going to seek re-election. Sounds like he's going to move out of elected office and maybe pursue something else. And we wanted to try and have him on the show. It didn't work out for tonight. Maybe in the future we can talk it out with him a little bit more. But that's big news in a city like this.
Yeah,
it is big news. Yeah, I mean, everyone's sort of probably processing it, probably thinking in terms of what this means for the city, what this means for the immediate future, the summertime campaign season and all that.
Yes. So we will have a fresh and open mayoral race. So the first half, the primaries in September, and then the final election in November. So it's an open field. Jen Grigoritis, city councilor, announced today that she's running. And there will be more. There'll be a race to be had. So
sure.
The last time there was a big open race, was that when the show started?
Yes.
Yeah. We had our campaign. It was a campaign. It was a candidate forum, essentially, right? We had all the candidates.
Because there were like 5 people running for mayor, right?
Yeah. Well, that was the primary, because I think the primary is a runoff for like the top 2 or something.
That's right. So that's right. Thanks for the reminder, Tom. So we do have that system in Melrose. It's not Republican, Democrat.
No,
it's just the top 2 vote getters, so that you narrow down it's a narrowing of the field. It's not by party affiliation.
Not at all. I think the last time it was Paul and then Monica.
And Monica Medeiros. Yeah.
Monica Medeiros.
Yeah. So stay tuned, because we'll be reporting on that. It's early, and there's going to be a lot happening. So I'm curious. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit earlier before we bring Ellis on. A couple things that we wanted to try to talk about here tonight. What do you think? What do you guys think? And viewers, anybody wants to comment? What do you think we need in the next leader for Melrose?
Before we move on to that, I just want to say thank you to Mayor Broder for his service. So I sent him a note on that when I heard the news, and I don't know the full story, and it'd be great to debrief with him on the show. Yeah. And I can also understand why that looks like a tough job to me.
Yes.
But then if you're going to do it during a pandemic, during all the upheaval that's happened nationally, locally, things that have been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, different topics at different times. And it seems like it's not all that predictable what's coming at you, but it's all going to land on your desk. And so he had quite a ride with that. And in his note, he recognizes it along like 20 years of public service. At what we used to call the Board of Aldermen, which is now the City Council. Then he was a State House rep, and then came to be mayor of a city he, moved to when he was like pre-kindergarten, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
So
lifelong resident. You get to be the mayor of the town that you love, the mayor of the city you grew up in, went to Melrose High. Yeah, I agree. Thank you for bringing us back to that first. And thank you to Mayor Berger. Yeah, it's appreciate his leadership, his commitment to Melrose, and wish him. I don't know what he's doing next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll debrief with him. We'll have to have him back on the show and debrief and figure that out.
Maybe he's leaving. Maybe he's leaving so he can come and host the show.
Oh, there we go.
So, I check the applications. I mean, they're piling up. So unsolicited applications, as most people know, come in
every week.
In a steady stream every week.
Every week.
We'll have to have him on for an interview and see if it's a good
show. Our marketing and HR interns are always busy.
Yeah. And then, hey, if he's not pursuing elected office, maybe we'll get some of the real scoop, what it's really like.
Oh, boy. I will say this, too. Don't forget, like, we're probably the #1 city in the state, at least, if not the country, under 50,000 people that made the national news more times.
Yeah. I don't know that that's a good thing.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it's a reality that we have endured as well during the last few years of all the different things that we had to go through.
Great
COVID
point,
and everything
Tom.
else.
Right. All the COVID. If it wasn't COVID, it was Jimmy Kimmel. There was somebody on our back.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so Jen, what was that prompt again? Could you repeat the question, please?
So I thought we could chat for a few minutes about what do you guys think is most important for the next what are you looking for on the next leader for Melrose? What do you think is important?
So a big part of the answer for me, and I'm no political strategist. I'm a guy trying to live in the city here. But I think an attention to the fundamentals is kind of important to me. It's like, as terms of like a leadership quality. So it's great. We have to have a vision. We want to move forward and all of that. But, the school committee lost track of a couple $1 million. A little bit of the basics, like, do we have the tools, technology, training, people in the right positions? Do we have things aligned? Sometimes in a situation, there are some small changes that make a big difference. So I do think that there are some fundamentals that feel like, I don't know why the superintendent chose Westwood or whatever, non-Melrose versus Melrose. Maybe there's a lot of factors, but I feel like there's an opportunity. There's a lot we have going for us. I don't take anything away from Melrose. And I think we're on a great trajectory. I think there's a lot of good things. We definitely have some challenges, but I think that's part of it. Strong leader.
I'm going to echo that, Tom, and say, especially that last part, say that Melrose, I mean, we think of Melrose as a destination. The housing market is red hot, has been for many, many years. But yet there's still something that we think we could be doing better. And for me, I want to feel like, keeping our eyes on what that means. What does it mean to be better, and how do we make sure that everybody benefits from being better, a better community, including everybody who lives in the city, whether you've been here for many, many years or not so many years. It's a diverse city. I think we wanted to maintain that diversity, and we want to grow that diversity, because the more voices and experiences we have, the better we become, I think. And so, and then allowing those voices to be heard. So communications and conversations, and just, ways to make sure that people feel engaged and feel like they're a valuable part of the entire story of Melrose. That's
well said. Are you running, Tom? I really feel like there's an announcement coming at the end.
Where's my new logo?
Boy, that was good.
Tom C. Vote for Tom C.
Well, we were talking about that. We could run as a pair. Just vote for Tom C. One of us is likely to show up.
Which Tom C? The one with the dark hair and the glasses. Oh yeah. Okay.
One of them will be there Monday at 9. Don't worry about it.
All right.
So I think for me, I think some of the main issues or the main priorities for the city are some of the things that you touched on. The budget, there's some challenges. We have a lean budget, so we have to get creative. Lead from lead the budget from kind of where our values are, the school, and that aligns with, the schools. The schools are educating our children is one of the biggest priorities. I think creative economic development, things like that, and community building, making sure everybody has or feels like they have a voice at the table. I think in terms of leadership qualities that I'm interested in, I'd be looking for. I think you want to kind of start from the inside out. So you're the leader of a team at City Hall, right? There's a big city staff and a big team. So I think on the inside, empowering your team and creating a City Hall work culture where everyone feels like they're working together to get projects done and that people are empowered. There's an expression, the room is smarter than the individual. So, really empowering everyone to work together. And then I think the community voices as well. Like communications is a two-way street. So inviting people, collaborations, the more the better. We get better work done when we collaborate.
Yeah.
I think holding on to things is never as good as when you can collaborate and bring more people to the table to find creative solutions and get things done and empower people. So those are some of the things that I'm interested in seeing.
Yeah, nice. And I feel like there's a lot of progress that was made by Mayor Broder, so we should again acknowledge all of that work he did. I particularly feel like there was a lot of progress made in the net zero effort. We see a lot of the charging stations around town. You see a lot of that kind of stuff happening. And so I think continued progress is something we want to see as well. There's been a lot of progress made. We want to keep going on that trajectory.
I tell you one thing that I thought he did well, or whatever. Or so one thing I liked that sort of sounded corny at first was some of the thematic stuff. So it's like the year of wellness or something like that.
Right.
Like,
that
sounds like a bumper sticker, whatever. But he actually made big changes at the health department and produced a lot of programming. And I was like, so as the year went on, I was like, oh, I get it. That's actually kind of nice way to push forward.
And and you really did feel it. I think we talked about this on an earlier show where it really did feel like that. There was a lot of really excellent programming coming out of the health department and partnerships with the rec department. Yeah, the first candidate who can bring a beer garden has our vote.
There's one more thing we want a candidate to do. What is that? We want something.
It really is that simple. Yep.
I'm gonna push until we have a beer garden.
Yeah.
All right. So who else is pushing the envelope around here? The students.
Yes.
Future leaders who started they're not waiting to lead, they're leading now.
They're leading now.
Yes. And so it would be great to have Ellis join us now. If we can do
that. There we go. There you go. There's your walk-up music, Ellis.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Hi,
Thanks
Ellis.
for being here.
Ellis, you are a senior at Melrose High School.
I am indeed, yes, senior. Last year.
Congratulations on your pending graduation.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Sorry about the dog barking.
No worries. So I'm a senior, like you guys said. I am involved in a lot of things, sometimes too many for me to handle with my schoolwork and stuff. I'm a runner. I am on a captain for the cross country and track teams. I'm a musician. I play in the marching band and the concert band. I started my own club called the Jam Club where students can come and play music together. I am an actor and a singer. I'm in the high school shows, and I do summer shows with Broken Leg Productions. I know you guys are fans. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I'm many things. I could tell you a lot of little projects that I've got going on, but some of them are secret.
Hey, Tom, can you pull Ellis's application out of the pile? Let's get him up to the top of the
list.
To
the top of the pile. Right to the top of the pile.
I like to keep busy. What can I say?
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's amazing. Good for you.
Kidding. That is impressive.
So you and some of your peers organized, we know last week there was a student walkout to end gun violence, and this was national. Fans everywhere.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about your involvement last week and what that experience was like?
Yeah, it was a really amazing experience, and I'm happy that I could be a part of it. The two girls who spearheaded it, Madeline Broder and Ella Ahrens, they kind of got the whole thing organized because the whole thing is a nationally based walkout. So the organization that started it reaches out to individuals at schools and asks them if they can sort of get something going and conjure up a walkout, and that's what they did. And they reached out to a couple of us seniors and a junior as well to speak, and they asked me to speak because they know I'm an advocate for this kind of stuff and I like voicing my opinions, whatever the subject may be. So yeah, it was really special. So many kids, I think pretty much almost every student in the school, in the high school, and even a ton of students from the middle school came out and supported, held signs. We did some chants. We had everyone listened to the speech. Everyone was very respectful. Yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Oh, that's great.
So there have been several, it's almost on a daily basis now at this point. I'm not in Melrose right now. I'm down in South Carolina visiting my parents. And so down here, CNN is on 24 hours a day. For my dad watches CNN 24 hours a day. So I've been even more aware than I already was about these things are happening on a nearly daily basis now. So this was in response to which choose one, which of the most recent shootings was the walkout in response to?
Which one was it? It was
Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah,
Nashville.
Nashville.
I can't keep
School
track.
shooting. Isn't that incredible?
There's a new one every day, and
Right.
I think that's a big problem. Is I actually 5 years ago I went to a march against gun violence. It was the march called the March for Our Lives, and this was when I was a sixth grader, or sixth or seventh grade, and I remember I was there and I held a sign up that said the only thing we should fear at school is the school lunch. And it was funny at the time, and it got the message across. But I think it's not good that we're still facing these things today. And as a senior in high school, 6 years later, I'm still here advocating for the same thing, for the same things that have been happening for 5, 10, decades ago.
Yeah.
I really empathize for students your age where this is a fact of life for you when you go to school. I can't imagine.
Yeah, no, I think we're incredibly lucky to live in the state of Massachusetts and live in New England, where we don't necessarily go to school every day with this fear because of the strict and regulated gun laws that we have here. So I'm very grateful for that. But I think a big part of the walkout and a big reason why I think we got it organized and we wanted to voice our opinions is to help the states that, and the students who live in those states that don't have as strict gun laws and do live in fear every single day. And I mean, it could happen to us. There's nothing to say that it couldn't. But so I am grateful that we live in a state where I can go to school and feel generally safe. But we want to make sure that everybody in the country can feel that way, not just specific states.
Right.
We saw reactions to protests on the state house floor in Tennessee, I believe, right? The two state reps who were ousted from their positions. One of them has been reinstated. One more is pending, I think. But I was going to ask, as a student in school, it's not just schools, obviously. We've seen it across houses of worship, churches, and others.
Banks, everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
It's and in a bank, and then a mall, and then. But what strikes me from a school perspective is that it's really strange. To get maybe quasi-political for a minute, it's really strange that there's an effort in certain states to ban books, which means that they're concerned that there's going to be an impact from the books on the students, right?
Harm to students, right?
And yet the guns have no impact in the minds of people who are trying to make these laws.
We're worried about, yeah.
Like, it seems weird that books are more important to ban than actual weapons in schools. So I don't know if you had any thoughts on that. If you feel like that's part of the thinking for kids your age as you go through life.
Well, yeah, I guess I'm not completely up to date, but I do know about the book bannings in Florida and some southern states and stuff like that. And I think that I mean, I don't think that information and getting, because these books that they were banning, it's historical context. A lot of the books were banning black baseball players, some of the first black baseball players to enter the major leagues. And I mean, that has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with our cultural milieu as a society. It's just historical context and historical information. So banning things like that isn't going to change our legislation. It's not going to change our culture and our society. It's just going to prevent people from being able to see the world in multiple perspectives. And because if you live in those areas and you can't get all the information and see everything from, if you're only looking at it from one perspective, then you're not gonna understand, what it's like to live and have more freedom of information in a place like Massachusetts compared to those states. And I think the issues that they should be focusing on are gun violence and gun control, because that's what's getting out of hand, not people reacting to this woke culture or whatever in books and information.
Right. Agreed.
So I'm wondering if there were additional points, from your speech, Ellis, that you may want to sort of convey for us here, or I don't know, maybe we've covered some points, but so you had to think about what you wanted to say, and you probably had a big audience there, and folks encourage you to do it. And you sound like you're experienced at expressing your opinion. So I'll have to hear any points we haven't covered yet that might have been part of your speech.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of how I started the speech was I talked about how it only takes 108 seconds to buy a gun, and a lot of that's a shocking piece of information to me, and I'm sure to everyone who knows that. And I think a lot of people and a lot of politicians, delegate with this mindset that the universal background check system is what is going to establish safer gun laws and safer gun control, when in reality, the background check system only checks people who buy guns at gun stores. You can buy a gun without any sort of background check at a gun show or a gun convention. And it doesn't stop people from doing harm in the future. It only checks for people who have a criminal record or a record of some sort of mental health issue that has been documented. But it doesn't account for people who are going to and are planning to use the gun for harm in the future, whether that be to themselves or to others. And I think just another one of my points that I wanted to get across, and something that I personally believe, is I talked about the Bill of Rights and how the Constitution, it was adopted in 1776. The Bill of Rights was ratified in 1791. And since then, 27 amendments have been made to the Constitution. And that was 250 something odd years ago. Since 1791, or whenever the last amendment was made, nothing else has been changed. And I think the people who wrote and ratified the Constitution back then had the right idea. They wanted to continue amending and evolving this piece of scripture, this documentation.
Living document, yeah.
Right. It's not a passive document. It's a living document. It's an active document, so that it can capture and evolve as our culture and as our society moves. And I think that we completely let that go to the wayside. We completely forgot our legislators, they don't do that anymore. We don't ratify our laws. We don't ratify our amendments because we think that we're set, and we think that we've, for the most part, we think that we've established a doctrine of, everything's good, when in reality, our laws people are finding loopholes, and people are finding ways to go into a school and with a gun. And, it's upsetting that we can't continue to evolve our laws and change them as we change the society, which is something
in a way that works for us now and protects us and upholds that, like you said, the Bill of Rights. Everybody has the right to feel safe at school and stuff too, and you have the right to live your life and feel safe. That's all really, really well said, Ellis. I'm struck with this feeling of hope. The fact that there are young people like you and your peers, and that we're in good hands if you're all coming up and voting and taking over from the old people.
Yeah. And I do think that is a good thing about our generation is whatever you want to say about Gen Z, we are activists and we will stand up for our rights and our opinions, which is something that's, it's going to be carried on for.
Hey, that's the American way. So as we're thinking about
your audio just started to get crackly again.
Okay, is it anybody able to talk now?
Nah, still.
Oh, it's all working to plan.
No kidding, exactly. Oh, you know what, Tom? It's crackly.
Yeah, exactly. See what you could do. In the meantime, I know, Alice, you are involved. Tom, was there something else you wanted to say?
I was going to ask a quick question. I mean, because you're at a transition or a crossroads in your life. You're about to graduate high school and then go on to college, and so you're becoming an adult, and you'll do that. What's your message for the Melrose kids who are younger than you, coming up, either middle school, even grade school, but middle school, high school ages? What do you feel that you've learned through your experience here in Melrose, in the school system, and also just in the community, and that you want them to know?
Yeah, so actually, this is part of so we have to do a senior internship at the end of the year, and so part of my internship is going to be giving kind of my lessons as a senior in high school and what I've learned from my 4 years and years in middle school and elementary school from being a student, because everybody hits their stride at a different time, and I want to be able to help them maybe come into their own in terms of learning earlier, and so I always, one of my points is that I think kids really need to get involved in our school, because a lot of kids are kind of scared to, because they want to be cool or they want to fit in with a certain group, but then they neglect to learn themselves and to educate themselves in all facets that the school provides, because they don't get involved with activities, with civil rights and social rights, things like the walkout, for example. 2-3 years ago, I probably wouldn't have done it if they had asked me. But I've kind of hit my stride now, and I've come into myself as a student and as a learner and as a member of the community. And I hope that that kids younger than me will continue and realize that they need to get involved in the community. They need to get involved in the school, because it's only going to help them, be better people, be better students, be better peers, and be better learners, and eventually maybe even better educators.
Oh, that's great. And there's a comment here. So
there we go. Thank you. I was going to tell you guys, I don't know how to put the comments up, but put Alistair's up there, because I'm also struck by, thank you, Alistair. I'm also struck by, there's lots of, there's lots of folks in the community, roughly our age, I'm just saying, that are involved in various boards, commissions, committees, etc. Here in town. Alistair is with the Racial Justice Community Coalition. There's the Human Rights Commission. There's, we're all involved in these things, and we would all do well to have more young people like you doing the work with us on these boards and commissions and community work. So I'm just so impressed, and really happy that you're here talking to us all. And I love what you were just saying about empowering the students younger than you to get there quickly and get involved. And so thank you for your leadership in school and everything that you're doing. Really
I think to your point, I mean, that's how we evolve, like I was saying, is by getting every opinion, every person, regardless of age, regardless of status, regardless of education, regardless of race, regardless of gender and sexuality, get everyone's opinion, everyone's voice, and that's how we become a more cohesive community.
That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's a fantastic ending, it sounds like, too.
So Tom wanted me to ask you. All right, yeah. Tom. See, I do listen to you, Tomcat. Tom wanted us to ask you, Ellis, what do you think we should be looking for in a new mayor?
I mean, I think Paul Broder did a great job. He really advocated for us as students. And I worked with him a few different times. So I was really happy with how he did. But I think that, maybe we could even have a woman in the office next time. Just a thought. But other than that, I just hope that whoever is the next mayor will continue to advocate for us as students, because I think a lot of times we can be outspoken, whether you want to call it ageism or not. I think we can just be outspoken because a lot of people expect that the students just kind of go through the system without, really having a thought of their own. And I don't think that's true. I mean, I see it firsthand every day when I go to school. Kids are bright, kids are smart, kids are cogent, they're cohesive with their thoughts and how they go about school. And so I think that, whoever the next mayor is and whoever the leaders of our community, they need to realize that. And I hope that they can continue that legacy.
Nice. Great job.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. We hear you. We hear you. You are
Wise.
now a host of the show.
Wise words.
Whenever you need me.
Wise words.
It's no accident that Tom is muted.
Yes.
We love you, Tom. So Ellis, you had a couple other things coming up that you're working on that you wanted to talk about and plug. So let's do that. Before you do that, because I think they're a little bit related. Like I said, there's a group in town now that I'm a member of called the Melrose Creative Alliance, and we have calendar and event listings on a portal. Ellis, there we go. Ellis for Mayor. About arts and culture in Melrose. So coming up, there's of course tomorrow, Wednesday, the kickoff for the Celebrate the Arts in Melrose, which is a citywide school arts show, visual arts, music, and performing arts that kicks off tomorrow night, and then the visual artwork is up for a couple more weeks. And then this Saturday is the Keep Melrose Beautiful annual spring cleanup. So check that out. And there's a ton more events that you can check out on melrosecreativealliance.org, including one, Ellis, I know you really wanted us to shout out also.
Yeah, so we're actually doing Celebrate the Arts tomorrow. So I am continuing the thoughts on drama. I am involved in Melrose Drama's production of Mean Girls, which runs from April 27th through the 30th. And so make sure everyone comes out and watches that because it'll be a great show. I think we're all doing a really great job. And we're going to be at Celebrate the Arts tomorrow. We're going to be previewing some of our songs, so make sure you stay tuned and catch that. And then if I'm going to keep plugging things, we got Broken Leg Productions. The summer shows are coming up. I have to plug that because my mom's on the board. We got Jesus Christ Superstar and Footloose, which I know are some fan favorites, especially in the Broadway world. Track team, come out to our meets. We have one home meet on April 25th at Pine Banks. So if you like watching people run, hopefully fast, then come out as well. And then the last thing is I also started my own news publication. It's a student run. It's self-funded. It's not affiliated with Melrose High School at all, but it's a student run news publication, and I'm one of the founders and editors. It's called The Underground. You can follow us on Instagram at theunderground.news. And we're trying to get as many students and even teachers and parents and anybody else in the community who wants to write us opinion pieces, write us about things that are happening on a smaller community scale or even from a federal, state, or national level, issues that are going on, and even just more philosophical inquiries that we like to talk about because it started in our philosophy class. So we like to get our brains thinking when we write.
No, I know this philosophy class. Fantastic. My daughter's taking that class next year.
Nice.
That's something I recommend for everyone is to go and take the philosophy class at Melrose High School because it will change your life.
Yes. My older daughter took it too.
More praise for you, Ellis. There we go.
There it is. That's the logo right there.
Okay.
Read some of our articles.
Tom can't speak, but he can search and show.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Thank you.
All right,
Ellis, that's fantastic. I'm definitely going to check that out. And thank you again for being here. You are welcome back on the show anytime.
Good job. Thank you for being here. That's no good.
That's kind of what it sounded like.
Wow, that's pretty.
Your words in between. Wow. Come on back, Tomcat. It's fine.
All right.
Come on back for the dancing.
Hear me now.
It's worse.
All right, Ellis. Thanks.
When's Tom's birthday? We have to buy my microphone.
Yeah. And for everybody else, we will see you around town.